What's up, everybody? Hey, Tom Laird here, host of the Advice from a Call Center Geek podcast and founder of Expivia. For exceptional contact center outsourcing, trust Expivia. We're fully AI-driven, as all of you know, and can handle voice, email, chat, and all of your digital channels. Our 600-seat USA contact center is expert in healthcare, financial services, insurance, tech support, retail, and more. Experts on the NICE CX1 platform, we ensure seamless customer experiences. DM me or visit expiviausa.com for more.
This is Advice from a Call Center Geek, a weekly podcast with a focus on all things call center. We'll cover it all from call center operations, hiring, culture, technology, and education. We're here to give you actionable items to improve the quality of yours and your customers' experience. This is an evolving industry with creative minds and ambitious people like this guy. Not only is his passion call center operations, but he's our host. He's the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing Group and the call center geek himself, Tom Laird.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Advice from a Call Center Geek, the call center and contact center podcast where we try to give you some actionable items to take back in your contact center, improve the overall quality, improve your agent experience, hopefully improve your customer experience as well. All right, I got a little special episode here. It's, I guess, what time is it here? It is about 8:30 here Pacific time in Las Vegas. Just really got done hanging out and doing, all the trade show things, and wanted to, why I guess all my thoughts were kind of fresh in my head. Do a quick kind of good, bad, and ugly of CCW Vegas here. I guess we would call it the summer or June edition. And let me just say this: if you guys follow me, if you've seen my LinkedIn, I posted a couple videos of the call center floor, or I'm sorry, the expo floor today. And it's back, right? I mean, it was really cool to see. I mean, I said I thought that there was about 3 times the amount of people, and I'm just gonna say people, and I'm gonna kind of talk about that here in a second. But I think there's 3 times the amount of people that were there. There was more exhibitors, and what the exhibitors were doing, they went all out, right? So your usual suspects, the Genesis, the NICE CX1, the TalkDesk, the Avias, all the really big kind of players in the space had the whole $150,000, $200,000 setups, right? It was kind of cool to see, to have all that kind of energy back on the floor. Again, check my LinkedIn out. I did a kind of a video of the whole floor if you're interested in that. It was pretty interesting to see. I will say there's so much amazing technology. And I will say that, every company that is here, when we think of the call center industry, it kind of gets a ho-hum kind of, I don't know, maybe thought process, but really it's a high-tech industry, with the amount of AI, with the amount of just overall technology enhancements that are happening from, again, analytics to voice authentication to workforce management to how you're routing calls. It's really cool to see. So I think that's the good. I think, there was a lot of good that came from, the groups that were there. But here's the bad, is I don't think that there was a lot of end users here. And I think that's a problem that we're starting to see at some of these shows, that it's really catering to vendors, but every vendor that I spoke to, I don't want to say every, that's not fair. Most of the vendors that I spoke to that were here, from BPOs to analytic companies, really are struggling to find the ROI at the show, right? Because if you really looked at it, there was very little, especially for the BPOs, for the outsourcers, very little ROI or end users that are actually here looking for, contact center outsourcing. It's more of a technology show, and everybody kind of showing off their new wares than it is actually people, looking for things to purchase. Now, I'm not saying that they're not here, because of course they're here, but the overwhelming amount of people, seem to be vendors still, and there's very few end users. The other thing is the cost of this thing, and I'm probably going to be banned from CCW for life. The cost is astronomical. Let me tell you a couple things that that I saw, right? Every booth, a 10 by 10, the smaller ones are at least $20,000, right? To have. Some of these, I have a lot of friends that are here, and some of the BPOs that were here that are friends, they're like, I got to spend my money somewhere. It's called the cost of doing business, but no one was super excited to be paying that for what they were getting out of it. I'm going to say this as well. I talked to a company that I am very close with who asked to have their carpet cleaned. And I believe they had a 20 by 10. They were a little bit bigger, like they had two of those. And they were told to put their name on a list. And it's $100 to have your carpet vacuumed, which I thought was insane. And I think it goes to show that while CCW does a great job from having the leaders in the space, because there's really nowhere else, I guess, for them to show off their wares, does a really good job with showing the technology of what the industry has to offer, because every player is pretty much here. All the big players are here. Again, I think CCW does a terrible job as an industry leader with thought leadership, with people actually trying to show new ways and new techniques. When you're going to some of the workshops, they become sales pitches. And when you're paying to be on a panel, when you're paying to speak, I don't blame the companies, right? You got to get an ROI from that if you're paying for it. So we're missing something in the industry. We're missing an actual group or a show or an expo that focuses more on thought leadership and helping the industry and helping call center managers and supervisors and even people that want to use technology better and want to improve the contact center, want to have, know about the newest laws and really get that. And what we find and what we have now is for-profit companies that are basically trying to make as much money as they possibly can off of these shows and leaving people out, right? Voices are just being left out of the entire industry because of how much money it costs to do anything here. And it's a little bit frustrating. The frustrating thing for many people that they've maybe worked or they've had a booth here in the past, but they just want to come to the show and maybe walk the expo floor and that's it. Well, CCW sees who they are in their database, doesn't let them come at the end user price, makes them come because they think they're going to be selling there. And some of these people, I kid you not, it was $4,500, $4,600, and I heard horror stories of prices changing constantly for these guys to show up. I mean, there was I'm not going to name his name, a new friend that I met. He has a 2,900 seat call center. He's working in kind of the gig space, right, where it's kind of agents on demand, and paid $4,600 just to come and kind of see, because he may want to get a booth for next time. They viewed him as a vendor, not as an end user. So every time I come here, I'm wowed by the mass of it, the scale of it. It's put on really well. The show from a technology standpoint is just an absolute showcase of the industry and the technology that's happening. But we're missing a huge piece of what these shows should be. And, the more I think about it, the more I really would like to do something. I know I keep talking about it, but the amount of discussions that I've had here at CCW to get people to buy into, a 1 or even a 2-day show with no vendors, just people that want to speak, not pay for anything, not pay to speak, but just to add value to a community as a whole. I think that there's a missing piece that could really happen. And again, the more that I come to this, and the more I hear people talk, the more people that want to get involved with something like that. So I think we're going to really look at that. I know a bunch of you have sent me emails. I have your emails that want to get involved with something like this. It's one of the biggest LinkedIn posts I ever had. And again, I'm not ever going to rival CCW or, if we have, a bunch of us that do that, but just to have even a even if it's 500 people or 300 people or 1,000 people, whatever that number is, to come together and everybody speaks and everybody has a voice. I think it's missing. Couple things too, and I'll kind of shut this down here, but I saw some really cool technology in the augmented reality space. The company's called TechC, and basically they're doing things where customers can have an app that they can kind of take a picture or kind of hold their camera over let's say you have a broken toy, and it can pop up what the part is, how to fix it. So instead of the agent telling you what to do if you need to fix something from a customer service standpoint, they're actually showing it to you. There's another company, I'm going to probably mispronounce their name, called Sanas, SANAS. Really cool stuff. They're basically doing voice that can sound like an English American voice, and give that to a contact center in the Philippines or maybe in India that doesn't have that, the perfect English. And as the agent in India or the Philippines is speaking, the actual English voice is kind of projecting right to the customer, right? So you can see that there could be some real amazing use cases for that as well. I demoed it, really cool technology. And then, you have some of the really cool people that have been on the podcast, Balto, Level AI, what those guys are doing from Agent Assist and from an analytics standpoint, Observe AI, I think is really cool. And then again, you had, like I said, the usual suspects of the big CCaaS providers, and even now some of the smaller ones like UJet that are kind of starting to really kind of make a name for themselves. So again, from a showcase standpoint, from a technology standpoint, top notch, unbelievable. It was awesome to see. Just think that there's a little bit missing, when it comes to the actual thought leadership that's actually happening, which I think is really what these shows are for. But I think they've kind of lost really what their meaning is. So again, I'm going to really take a harder, deeper look at this. Shoot me an email. Again, my email is tlaird@expivia.net. There's probably about 7 or 8 of you that have already done that. But if you'd like to be involved, I'd love to get a committee, and maybe we'll start talking here in July about, maybe we'll do something end of the year. Maybe we'll do something first quarter, something small. Maybe it's virtual the first year. But I think that there's a place for all of us in the space. And all of us have a voice that I think is kind of being snuffed out by some of these, for-profit shows. So that's kind of my take. I know it's a little bit rambling, but I have no notes. I'm just kind of sitting here in my hotel room, kind of giving you my thoughts. But again, I hope that if those of you that were not there gives you a little bit of insight in kind of what it was and what it wasn't. And I'll talk to all you guys next week.